Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Mayor's Table. I'm Farmington Mayor Nate Duckett, and with me today is Public Works Director David Seifert. David, thank you for joining us for another episode.
Yes, good afternoon. Good to be here.
I love when we get to bring you out because we get to talk to people about some of the cool things that are going on in infrastructure and things around town where we're putting a lot of good public money really to use in helping our community. And today we wanted to talk about the wayfinding signs.
Yes.
So for those who've been traveling around town, you may have seen some new signs that have come up, signs that show people how to get to the great amenities that we have here in the city. This has been a couple-year process, really, from the time that we began the first field trip, where we decided that we were tired of there being secrets in our town, right? It was time to start telling our own story. And David was with me that day. We traveled to a number of places throughout the area and looked at a place like this. And right now today we're at Kinsey Trail, which is one of our premier mountain biking trails here inside the city of Farmington. And it's at the end of Foothills. And in that field trip we took, I said this is a place where a lot of people are coming, and a lot of people who would probably come here don't even know it exists.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, we have some of the best kept secrets around, and really there are amazing places here. And for me, I've only been in town for 5 years.
Right.
And so it's really cool for me when we started talking and we started listing everything. We said, wow, we can't even grab that, put our arms around that for now. So let's do this. Let's pick about 30 of our top premier places, and let's let people figure out, show them how they can get to these places.
Right.
And so we put together a plan, we color coded it, and we're in the process right now of putting it in.
Yep. So when you've seen these signs around, you'll see that we have 3 different colors of signs, and those colors represent 3 different opportunities, right?
Yes.
3 different opportunities to jolt your journey, add to your adventure, and really learn about our area and experience things with your family or on a bike or with a dog or with a boat. And that's what we were trying to accomplish. When you hear stories out there, and I always hate to come back to this, but the fact remains, when there's a national headline that says this is a bad place to raise a kid because you have no parks, and you start looking around town going, if you just pulled into town, where would you find a park? How would you know that there's parks everywhere unless you live here? How can we show people who are visiting us, but also for those who are already in town, have them keep that top of mind, that we do have a lot of things to do?
Oh, we do. And so what we did after we came up with the premier places we wanted people to see or be able to access, we started laying out the routes, and we broke it into 3 categories.
Right. So the first color we'll talk about will be green.
Green, okay, that's our recreation.
Green is recreation. What are some of the amenities that represent recreation here in the city?
I've got a few listed right here that so I can capture them all that we came up with. We've got our rec center,
Of course.
which is awesome. The Sycamore Park Community Center, the Aquatic Center. We've got Lions Pool. We've got Brookside Bay Water Park. We've got the Sports Complex. We've got the Pinion Hills Golf Course, Civitan Golf Course, Ricketts Park, and the RC Park.
And the RC Park. So
Yes.
some traditional type recreation areas for people to go and recreate.
Right.
Right, your traditional parks. The next item we have is brown. And brown is for the outdoor recreation component or outdoor areas that really Kinsey Trail represents a perfect example where it's kind of off the beaten path, so to speak. And unless you were traveling down foothills and came all the way to the end, you may not even know it's here.
Yeah.
So what are some of the outdoor amenities that are represented by brown?
Well, brown, again, like you pointed out, is usually the trails and that type of thing, the biking, and that's Lake Farmington area, the Penny Lane River access. In fact, we've got 4 different accesses to our river, and it's an awesome river, and we have some neat features in that river that often are hidden and people aren't taking advantage
Penny
of.
Penny Lane's a great example.
Oh yeah.
If you drove down Main Street, you might find a sign that shows you how to get to the river for a boat. Now we're going to have 4 places, which will have multiple signs associated to say, here's where you can go and put a boat in the river. And Penny Lane, of course, we spent quite a bit of money redeveloping that particular area to make it safe for boaters to go through the Penny Lane Dam. So a great example.
Well, yes, and then of course you add to that Animas Park, Boyd Park, Westland Park, Those are all great accesses to our river, and really it's such an awesome feature. Animas River is such a nice river. It's a great to have that access. But beyond that, we have Berg Park, we have Lions Wilderness Disc Golf,
Sure.
we have Kinsey, this what we're featuring today, Kinsey Trail, the Glade Run and the Riverside Glade area.
So again, so much to do inside the city of Farmington. And when we began the branding process 5 years ago, one of the things we found is that when people were visiting Farmington, going to the restaurants, going to the hotels, they were being told, hey, what is there to do in Farmington? And they were being told, let's go to Durango. Durango's where you can go do stuff. And part of that, I think, comes with the fact that we have never really advertised, even for ourselves, all the number of things that you just listed there, to make it to where if somebody asked you what is there to do, you could say, hey, you know what, if you got a boat, go check out the Penny Lane River Access Point. Mm-hmm. If you've got a mountain bike, come out to Kinsey Trail. If you've got an off-road vehicle, you should be going to the Glade. Mm-hmm. A lot of these areas, they use the term world class. I mean, when you bring in an off-road group that's having a tournament out here in your Glade, that is a world-class facility for those types of things. So the third color is orange.
Yes, it's burnt orange, and it's our cultural events, our event centers, and that includes our Civic Center, Lions Wilderness Outdoor Theater, the E3 Museum, Farmington Museum, Native American Museum, the Veterans Memorial Plaza, Public Library, and again, I'd like to remind people that these little highlights that we're picking, those are just the public highlights.
Right.
And there's really a lot of private places as well, and things that we'll add to as we go along in this wayfinding process.
So we've just began, I think we began putting signs in just before Christmas.
We did.
And the plan is to have all the signs out by April 1st.
That is correct.
How are we doing on the process so far?
Really great. We're right on schedule and under budget. So it doesn't get any better than that.
Sure. And speaking of budget, the money that went into the signs, obviously somebody has to pay for that. And it was kind of a good partnership between the CVB, whose board approved their use of money for the signs, and then additional money that we had through our CTED fund in order to complete the task. So I think it's a really good partnership. Obviously from the CVB, they're making sure that tourists can find the places in our city, and it makes it easier for them to market the things here inside of Farmington, and the signs speak to that.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we're excited about telling the world and the people who live here about the amazing things to do in Farmington. We hope that you've enjoyed the signs as you've seen them go up. I think they're beautiful. I do want to make sure that people understand maybe some of the symbols as well that are there, because there may be some confusion. And not, these are universal symbols, by the way.
Yes, they are. The Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices have developed these symbols, so these are at least our national symbols.
So one of the symbols that stands out to me is the amphitheater symbol, which looks a little bit like the Wi-Fi symbol, but it is for an amphitheater, and that would be something that would be used for the Civic Center,
yes,
Lions Wilderness Park Amphitheater,
exactly,
and those types of things.
Yes, that is correct.
And then we have another one that's over by Fairgrounds and Main Street, and that's for the Recreation Center, and it's the international symbol for exercise. So it shows a man squatting and a man standing, and that's calisthenics in my mind is what it represents. But if you have any questions about the signs, definitely reach out to me through the Farmington website, also through Facebook, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Of course, David's always available as well. David, anything else you'd like to add to the end of this?
Well, just the signs are progressive, and it's exciting. In some cases, when something we're trying to point to is right near a main street, there may only be one or two signs, but you'll be able to see progressive signs and can count on the fact that as you're traveling, you'll see a group of signs and say, okay, I can go down this corridor and it will lead me to these 4 places. And then as you progress, it will get more and more refined. And so, for example, here, when we come to Kinsey Trail, there'll be then the sign showing this is Kinsey Trail.
So you'll be able to have the sign at the place where the activity is going to take place, and then also the signs that lead you to that point. And so you'll see that along Pinion Hills Boulevard, for example.
You will, and you'll see it on Main Street. Yep.
So if I'm traveling west on Pinion Hills Boulevard, I'm going to see signs that lead me to the Disc Park, to Pinion Hills Golf Course, to the Glade Run, and then to the sports complex.
Yes.
And as you get closer to those things, you'll see those signs come and go until you get to that spot.
Exactly. So you don't feel lost. You feel like you know where you're going. It's very nice.
I think we should definitely, to make mention of Isaac Blue Eyes and his team, and who work for you, of course, but for the great job they put into coming up with this philosophy, and I think it's going to pay dividends.
Well, you know, what I'm really pleased about is, yes, they had some genius in this and really did a great job. But beyond that, they wanted to keep the economies going for the public and the benefit for the public, and worked on this themselves. I mean, they could have hired out a consultant for this, but they wanted to be a part of this and are excited to share this beautiful community with others that come and visit.
It's a home team effort.
It is.
I like that. Well, David, anything else we want to add the public should know?
I just think that there's one other person that ought to be commended, and that's you. This was your vision, Mayor,
well.
and we're grateful that you've provided this leadership.
I appreciate that. Well, I think the public wants it. Certainly the community needs to know what's going on and what there is to do. And anybody visiting here, if we really want to jolt somebody's journey, we got to let them know where to be jolted.
Got to
at,
be able
right?
to get there.
There's a lot to do here in the city of Farmington and the surrounding areas, and we hope that you're getting out there and exploring and making memories with you and your family. Please tell people about this great area. We want more people to come here, and we look forward to more obvious adventures here on the Mayor's Table. So stay tuned, and thanks again for joining us.